The illusion of solidity created by motion and speed. That's what is meant by the statement, nothing in this world is real. That is, it is not what it seems to be. Now, how is that important? Okay, fair enough. Perhaps as a point of physics, it has some minor interest, but in terms of our actual day-to-day life, so what? What does it mean? I mean, who cares? I get that it's physically true, but so what? Well, isn't that an interesting question? And the answer is, if I am clear that nothing that I'm looking at is real, two things become immediately apparent to me. I'm watching a magic show. I'm watching a magic trick, in a sense, to use a metaphor. But I am as a magician who has forgotten his own tricks. That is, I've forgotten that I have joined in a collaborative effort with all the other aspects of divinity, that is, all the other parts of God, or to put it in simple terms, all the other people on the earth. I have forgotten that I have joined in a collaborative undertaking with all the other aspects of God in the co-creation of the reality that I'm seeing, in the co-creation of the reality that I'm seeing. And because that's true, I can actually alter the reality. This is a statement of empowerment. If I know that what I'm looking is a trick that I have created, I can change the trick. I can create the reality that I choose to create. There's the trick. See? Alchemists, or spiritual masters, or whatever label or title you want to give to them, are people who have understood this mechanically. They've not only understood it metaphysically, or spiritually, or philosophically, but they've understood it mechanically. That is, they understand the mechanism by which we cause the molecules, by which we cause that which is neither here nor there. I love it. I love it. You see, you look at reality, what you think is reality, and you say, you know what? That's neither here nor there. It's all places at once because it's moving so fast. If you understand the mechanics of this, you can then empower yourself, fighting for the words here. I want to make this clear. You can then empower yourself to impact these mechanics such that they create physical manifestations of your choosing. Now, Conversations with God assures us that this is not only possible, but that it's happening all the time. That is, we're doing it right now. It's not a question of whether we are affecting the physical reality of our lives. It's a question of whether we're doing it consciously or unconsciously, on purpose or by accident, as it were. Most of us, I'm told, myself included, for a long time, we're doing it by accident. That is, we didn't know what we were doing. We had no idea we were involved in this process. So we allowed ourselves to simply use our mind as the primary tool with which we constructed our reality of life by thinking about it in a certain way. Even though all the masters have told us over and over again, not just the Master Jesus, but all the masters have told us, each in their own words, as you believe it, so will it be done unto you. Or James Allen wrote a wonderful book a few decades ago called As a Man Thinketh. As you think, so will it be. So the masters, both ancient and contemporary, have been trying to tell us how this works for a long time. They've given us the formula. It's right there. But if you use only your mind's prior data and not the wisdom of your soul, we talked about this a few lessons back, you'll be stuck in the confines of your mind. That is what your mind imagines itself to know about that, whatever that is, whatever situation or circumstance you find yourself in. Only when you step into the wisdom of the soul and bring the soul's wisdom into the mind's data package, melding the two into one, can we then use the mechanism of manifestation in such a way that we start to create not only our interior reality, but our exterior reality as well. I want to give you just one example of that, of what I call focused thinking or intentioned thinking, because it works remarkably well. After the first of my books came out, the very first Conversations with God book, I deeply wanted it to touch many, many people. And it really wasn't, trust me on this, a matter of ego or wanting to become famous. It wasn't any of that. It really wasn't. I just realized that the book was phenomenal. And I wanted deeply for many people to read it. But I thought, what are the chances? Because people write books every day, you know, and only 1 out of 1,000 even sells a minimum number of copies. So I thought, well, you know, I'm fighting uphill odds here, but I understood what the book was telling me. So I began to visualize, use my mind. You see, I began to use my mind in conjunction with the wisdom of my soul. And I began to visualize my post office box overflowing with mail from people reading the book. And of course I wasn't getting any mail at all. Naturally, the book had just come out. And then I got 1 or 2 letters every couple of weeks. But nevertheless, every day I visualized in my mind, every day and every night, just as I woke up and just before I went to sleep, I would visualize that post office box overflowing with mail. Don't you know that in about 3 months, that exact thing happened? I will never forget the day that I went to my post office box, opened it up. There was increasingly large numbers of letters in there anyway, but then the day came when I opened it up and the mail literally, not exaggerating, actually fell on the floor because it was so much packed in there that when I opened it up, it all just fell out. And I stood there and I thought, oh my gosh, I visualized this. I saw this coming. Or did I create this happening? See, what's the difference between I saw this coming and I created this happening? Now we're coming right to the edge of your life as God. Okay. That's what's meant by nothing I see is real. And because that's true, you can create what you choose to call your reality in the ways I'm beginning to describe. The second of the 3 affirmations in the triad process. The meaning of everything is the meaning I give it. Wow. Here we go again with power. The meaning of everything is the meaning I give it. Means that nothing has any meaning at all, except what you say it means. And that has given me extraordinary freedom to literally interpret incoming data in such a way that I am empowered rather than disempowered from this moment on. So I can decide what any incoming data, any comment, any experience, any event that's occurring, anything I think or hear or encounter in life. I can decide what that means to me by the simple act of choice, by a simple act of will. And I can, again, I want to mention that I can make that decision based on just the data of my mind or the data of my soul joining with the data of my mind, such that my perspective is enlarged and increased. In a previous lesson, you saw that process happen, the soul logic process. We did that process with a nice lady who joined us in order to experience that process and to show you how it can work. That was a totally unrehearsed, completely spontaneous experience. But you saw what happens when the data of the mind is merged with the insight and the wisdom of the soul. And then you saw the living experience of nothing has any meaning save the meaning I give it.